Hey, what's up, guys? Towels here, and we are 3 weeks into Project Diablo 2 Season 10 Desecration. Now, I've got a sweet Warcry barb to show off. This is the far faster mapper than I was able to reach with my Berserker, which is now purely a bosser, primarily Lucian services, which I've seen some insane desecrated amulets come through. Really cool theme of this season. I have some updates to share as well on the next episode. The clip in the beginning was the end of a 6-minute 45-second Throne of Insanity with 162 density and no tough mods. In fact, it had plus monster velocity, which was very helpful in the clear speed. This is not a typical clear speed. I'm usually around 8 to 10 minutes on most maps and about 5 to 6 minutes on Chaldeum, depending on rolls and loot, of course. And this is the small layout of Thrones as well. So I'll finish the video with the full run so y'all can judge me in the comments below. Alright, so here is my gear. I've never played Warcry Barb before. I've seen a lot of GG builds for this, and I just want to give it a try and make this a season of Barbarian for me. So I decided on an Ondal's build because I just love high defense in PD2. This build requires an Enigma though, and so I have that in an Archon plate instead of a Mage plate for the 200 plus defense. I am glad it at least rolled mid. It's such a huge range. And funnily enough, I actually run Edge on swap at all times. I just don't have anything else to put there. Vigor, I guess, but I'm already zippy enough for me, so when I shop or run into a Geeds event, I just don't have to run to the stash to swap it. Okay, and so in game, you'll see that I have about 25k defense. And that means I have, let's see, Flare with 12% chance to hit, and taking off the Ondals, that goes up to 18%, right? So you might think 6%, not a big deal, but if you also think about it as 33% overall damage taken decrease, then that's actually a pretty big difference, right? So as you're taking damage in maps, just think about completely removing 33% of that, then that's pretty good. So it actually means I'm extremely tanky, especially in solo maps, and that's without any PDR gear on. It's actually kind of crazy. I haven't died since mapping and since like level 85 or so, which is a really long streak for me. I'm now level 96. So and although the defense is a very important factor for that, obviously the number one factor would be the life pool. So 4k plus HP is pretty insane. I did run a Fireclaw Bear 2 seasons ago that had about this much HP and just never even died in Players 8. So what 4,000 life means I just don't get one tapped. And even if I telly into a really nasty pack, I do have time to pot. Now, I'm not a hardcore player and I don't make hardcore recommendations, but this guy isn't bad for his farming speed and survivability. Moving on to the rest of the gear, I also have this +1 Cyclopean Roar, which was really cheap to get, especially the casting version of it. I did manage 2 sockets on the first try, so that's nice. And I do like this for the faster run walk and plus to leap speed. So since Enigma charges do run out while in between recharging, you do end up leaping a bit and also walking to the next pack in between tellies. So it does keep you from going completely brain dead in maps, but it is quite close. Okay, and so with this, I've also managed so far 2 +5 Warcry amulets. Lucian has obviously been good to me, and this second one even managed with 81 life on the original, so it's pretty nice to look at. Luckily, Warcry gear is actually super cheap, so probably one of my favorite parts of this build. These charms are also, on average, I would say about an ist for each of these. I am running 1 Geeds, and so that's 1 more plus skill that I could potentially run instead. And so back to my weapon though, I've actually failed 3 of these, and so on my 3rd try I did manage to get 3 open sockets at least, so the 4th try has gotta be 4 open sockets, guaranteed, right? Yeah, anyway. So for gloves, I'm running Drax with an MPK slam on them, 9 life after kill, 3 mana after kill is pretty sweet. I have 2 BK rings and an Arax. Some MF slams, I guess the poison red slam on 1, pretty random one, 13 FCR on the Arax because the FCR is not totally necessary. I get 105 from my Ondals, and that puts me at the full breakpoint that I'm actually aiming for. It is nice to overcap a little bit for up to -20 cast and attack speed mod on maps, so a full 20% would technically be better. Honestly, I'm just in it for the MF at this point though, so 241, pretty sweet to hold. And I've got Marrow Walks as well for my CBF, and then another 3 mana per kill. So 9 total life, 6 total mana. It's not a ton, but the mana does fine, and then the life, I'm mostly just trying to avoid damage. And so with 4K, again, with 4K health, that just puts me, gives me enough time to actually pot. Mana only runs out if I'm constantly getting mana drained, or if I'm in like players 8 maps and not getting that many kills myself, then I'll just take some mana potions in with me. So Warcry plays exactly like a physical Nova. You telestomp, cast Nova, and put mobs into hit recovery before they can hit you. And with my high defense, those archers can hardly hit me, and then the only annoying things are really going to be witches with their physical bolts and amp damage, and souls with their lightning. So then Pierce mod in maps is the last one, because it's actually a combo of Pierce plus attack rating mod, and this means mobs have greatly increased chance to hit. So I do avoid that role in T2 and T3 maps as well. And then aside from that, I really have no problems. In maps with really big max life rolls, I mix in a battle cry on every stomp, and then especially when I leap, because then my Merc doesn't come with me and there's no guarantee of amp, really. And so speaking of my Merc, I've also got this Innocence, Reaper's Toll, and Ferocity. So the taunt from Ferocity is crazy good. In previous seasons, I didn't like this that much because with my Fire Druid, I had summons as meat shields, but here, not having that, the debuffs that taunt provides, where it's the enemy damage and attack rating are severely debuffed, is huge for survivability. So really great synergy with the Act 2 Defiance Merc, which buffs defense and PDR. And again, I'm running just 5% PDR on this build, and so again, just really nice to have all of this to stay, again, surprisingly tanky. So skills wise, I haven't even maxed out my last synergy yet, but I've got 1 point into leap, 1 point into each of the masteries, with an extra one in combat reflexes just to hit at least the 27 FHR breakpoint. And then war cries, I've got max war cry, battle cry, battle command, battle orders, and then the last one is howl, which will round that out and take me above the 96. Even with replacing my Geeds, I'm actually still just at like 9.9, so almost breaking 10k, and would have been nice to show that, but soon enough. Next level I will. Anyway, so I originally decided to make this build for dungeon support, and I think we've got a decent team together for that, so hopefully we'll have more to share for that in the future. Anyway, so I'll close out with the full run, but just before that, a quick sneak peek before my next video. All right, so I'll catch you on the next one. Good luck out there.